Welcome to the session on operations management. Today we are discussing on the module 4, aggregate planning and master scheduling. Aggregate planning is the process of planning the quantity and timing of output over the intermediate range, that is for 3 to 18 months. Aggregate planning is the planning of activities of the organization for the next 3 to 18 months. It is not long range planning, it is all about short range planning of the activities of the next 3 months. Okay, by adjusting the production rate, employment, inventory and other controllable variables. Actually, the aggregate planning links the long range and short range planning activities. Aggregate planning is the process of planning the activities, planning the quantity and timing of output over the intermediate range, nothing but the planning of the activities of the organization of next 3 to 12 months is called the aggregate planning. And this planning is made by adjusting the production rate, employment, inventory, planning of the production, what is the production to be made by the organization, what is the employment, what is the workforce required, what is the inventory required and other controllable variables. Planning of all these for the next 3 to 18 months is called the aggregate planning. And this aggregate planning links the long range planning and the short range planning activities. It acts as a link between the long range activities and short range activities. Okay, whereas master scheduling follows the aggregate planning and expresses the overall plan in terms of the amounts of specific end items to produce and dates to produce them. Means master scheduling is all about the activities which are to be performed on a daily basis, plan in terms of amounts of specific end items, whereas aggregate planning is not about the specific end items. It plans about the activities which are to be performed for next 3 to 18 months, whereas master scheduling follows the aggregate planning and expresses the overall plan in terms of amounts of specific items to produce and dates to produce them. It uses information. The master scheduling uses the information from both forecast and orders on hand, and it is the major driver control of the production activities. That means it schedules the activities. Okay, it plans the activities so that a specific amount of production rate is done. It plans the activities in terms of amounts of specific end items, and it to produce the dates to produce them. Then next, the aggregate planning. Aggregate planning, why the aggregate planning is required? Seasonal variations in demand are quite common in many industries. What is meant by seasonal variations? For example, for the cotton cloth, there is a huge demand during summer season but less demand during winter and rainy season. This is called seasonal variations. And public services, seasonal variations in demand are quite common in many industries and public service industries, such as air conditioning. When the air conditioning is required, there is a huge demand for ACs in summer season, less demand for ACs during the winter season and rainy seasons. Similarly, for fuel, public utilities, police and fire protection, travel agencies, when there is a demand during vacations, and there will be off season when there are schools are running. Okay, similarly, the seasonal variations for demand occurs in many industries, many public service organizations, and these are just a few examples of industries and the public services that have to deal with uneven demands. Okay, there are seasonal variations in many industries and public service industries, public service organizations, and these organizations have to deal with uneven demands. Generally speaking, the organization cannot predict exactly the quantity and timing of the demands. In these industries where uneven demand is there, where seasonal variations were there, there is a change in the trends are there, it is difficult to deal with the demands for specific products or the services. It is difficult to predict the demand, exact quantities, exactly the quantity and the timing of the demands for specific products and the services months in advance. Under these conditions, what happens in this organization, they cannot, it is difficult to predict what is the demand for a product, what is the demand for a service in a particular time. But even so, they typically must assess their capacity needs and the costs months in advance. Although it is difficult to predict the demand, but they need to assess, but they need to plan the capacity needs and the costs months in advance. The planning of the requirement, planning of the employability, planning of the activities to be performed is to be made months in advance, so that they can be able to handle the demand. And how they do it? They use a process for this, for the planning of the activities months in advance when there is an uneven demand is there. They use a process which is often referred as the aggregate planning. In the spectrum of production planning, aggregate planning is intermediate range planning that typically covers a time horizon of 2 to 12 months. Aggregate planning plans the activities, it covers the planning of the activities made in aggregate planning, covers the activities which are to be performed in a time horizon of next 2 to 12 months. Okay, sometimes it extend up to 18 months also. That means aggregate planning plans the activities which are to be performed to meet the demand in next 2 to 18 months. It is particularly useful for the organization that experiences seasonal or other fluctuations in demand and capacity. Aggregate planning is most commonly used in the organizations which comes across with the fluctuations in demand or capacity. The goal of aggregate planning is to achieve a production plan that will effectively utilize the organization's resources to satisfy the expected demand. The main goal of the aggregate planning is to effectively utilize the organization's resources to meet the uneven demands which occurs in next 2 to 18 months. Under aggregate planning, the planners must make decisions on output rates, employment levels, and the change in employment level. What is the inventory required? What is the change in inventory required? What is the back orders that we are receiving? What are the subcontractings that are to be made to meet the demand? These are the activities which are to be performed by aggregate planners. Therefore, the main goal of aggregate planning is to achieve a production plan that will effectively utilize the organization resources to match expected demand. The goal of the aggregate planning or the aggregate planners is to achieve a production plan that will effectively utilize the organization resources to match expected demand. Okay, Next is intermediate planning in perspective. In organizations, the capacity decisions or planning of the activities is made on three levels: long term planning, intermediate planning, and short term planning. Long term decisions relate to the product and service selection. That is, determining which products or the services to be offered by the organizations. In long term decisions, the decisions were taken mainly on what is the facility size required, means facility size, whether we need to produce 100 products, whether we need to produce 200 products, means what is the number of machineries required, what is the number of employers required, and once it is what is the area of the plant required. Once the decisions were taken, they cannot change, you cannot change them, because it involves large investments. Therefore, the long term decisions relate to the product and service selection. What is the products to be produced, what are the services to be offered, whether it is a hospital, whether it is a education institution, which type of service is to be provided, which are the product, whether it is a car, whether it is a bus. These are the long term decisions. Once the decisions were taken, you cannot change them. Okay, what is the plant capacity required, where to locate the plant, what are the equipments required, what should be the layout of the facilities. Okay, these long term decisions essentially define the capacity constants within which the intermediate planning must function, because the activities which are daily activities which you are going to plan for next 12 to 18 months, because intermediate planning is nothing about the planning of the activities for the next year or the next month, and this intermediate planning depends on the long term decisions which were taken, because the intermediate planning always depends on what is the size of the plant, where it is located, which are the services that we are offering, which are the products that we are manufacturing, right? Intermediate decisions relate to the general levels of employment, output, and the inventories, which in turn define the boundaries within which short range capacity decisions must be made, because short term decisions are the activities or the decisions taken on daily activities. Therefore, these activities depends on the intermediate decision depends on long term decisions, and the short range capacity decisions depends on intermediate decisions. The short term decisions essentially consists of deciding the best way to achieve desired results within the constants resulting from long term and intermediate term decisions. Short term decisions involving scheduling of the jobs, workers, equipment, and the like, means short term decisions mainly involves the planning of the activities which are to be performed on a daily basis. Scheduling of the jobs, scheduling of the workers, scheduling of the equipment, planning of the daily activities is called short term decisions, and these short term decisions are constrained by the long term decisions and intermediate decisions. Then what is the scope of aggregate planning? Why it is required? Aggregate planners are always concerned with quantity and timing of expected demand. If the total expected demand for the planning period is much different from the available capacity over that same period, the major approach of the planners will be to try to achieve a balance by altering capacity, demand, or both. What happens, I already said, aggregate planning is very much useful where the organizations encounters the seasonal variations. What happens, there are some cases where the quantity available, capacity available will be different and the demand will be different. In such cases, the major approach of aggregate planning is to achieve a balance between the capacity and the demand by altering the capacity and demand or both. On the other hand, even if the capacity and the demand are approximately equal for the planning horizon as a whole, planners may still face with the problem of dealing with uneven demand within the planning interval. Even if the capacity and the demands are in balance, there are some situations due to uneven demand the planners may face some problems. Solving those problems is called the aggregate planning. By balancing of capacity and the demand, when there is an uneven demand, when there is a seasonal variation in the demand, is called the aggregate planning, and this is the main purpose of aggregate planning. In some periods, the expected demand may exceed the projected capacity. In others, expected demand may less than the projected capacity. In some cases, the expected demand may exceed the capacity, and in some other cases, the expected demand may be less than the projected capacity. And in some periods, the two may be equal. The task of aggregate planners is to achieve the rough equality of demand and capacity over the entire planning horizon. The task of the planners is to achieve a balance between the demand and the capacity for the next 2 to 18 months. Okay, planning horizon is nothing but for next 2 to 18 months, because aggregate planning plans the activities for next 2 to 18 months. It is not a long range planning, it is an intermediate planning. Moreover, the planners are usually concerned with minimizing the cost of the production plan, although the cost is not only consideration. They mainly concerned with the minimizing the cost of production. Okay, effective aggregate planning requires good information. First, the available resources over the planning period must be known. Then a forecast of expected demand must be available. Effective aggregate planning, of course, any planning, it may be whatever may be the type of planning, it requires good information. Especially in aggregate planning, the planners must know what is the resources available for the next time horizon. For next 8 to 12 months, what is the, because the aggregate planning plans the activities for next 2 to 18 months. Therefore, the aggregate planners must know what are the resources available for next 2 to 18 months and what is the forecasted demand for next 2 to 18 months. Then only they can make an effective aggregate plan. Okay, next is strategies of aggregate planning. Aggregate planners might adopt a number of strategies. Okay, to plan the activities, they may consider many strategies, they may follow many strategies, they may follow many rules. Some of the more prominent ones are, means most commonly used strategies by aggregate planners are, the first one is maintain a level workforce, the second one is maintain a steady output rate, third one is match demand period by period, and use a combination of decision variables. Here the first three are pure strategies because each has a single focal point, either maintain a level of workforce or maintain a steady output or match the demand according to the period by period by period. But the fourth one is not pure, it combines all the above three. It is a mixed strategy. The first three strategies are pure strategies because each has a single focal point. The last strategy is mixed because it lacks the single focus. Under a level capacity strategy, variations in demand are met by using some combination of inventories. The fourth one, combination of decision variables. Demand, the variations in demand are met by using some combination of inventories, overtime, part-time workers, subcontracting and back orders. Matching capacity to demand implies a chase demand strategy. Matching demand period by period is nothing but it is also called chase demand strategy. The planned output for any period would be equal to the expected demand for that period. In chase demand strategy, the planned output is always for any period would be equal to the expected demand for that period. The first one is produce with stable workforce but vary the utilization rate. It is also called stable workforce strategy. This strategy retains a stable workforce but permits overtime, part-time and idle time. Means here no layoff is done. The workforce remains the constant, but utilization of the workforce varies. When the demand is more, they permit overtime. When the demand is less, they go for part-time and they provide some idle time. Some versions of this strategy permit back orders, subcontracting of the workers when the demand is more, and use of inventories. Although this strategy uses overtime, it avoids the detrimental effects of layoff. Means there is no layoff is done here. When the demand is more, they ask workers to work overtime, but there is no problem of layoffing of the workers. The second strategy which was followed in the aggregate planning is the produce at a constant rate and use the inventories. It is also called level production strategy. This strategy retains a stable workforce producing at a constant output rate. Here also the constant workforce is produced, but it produces at a constant rate irrespective of the demand. Inventory can be accumulated to satisfy the peak demands. Means the productions were made and they were stored to satisfy the peak demands. Irrespective of the demands, here the products are constant. In addition to subcontracting is allowed and back orders can be accepted. Promotional programs may also be used to shift the demand. The third one is vary production to match demand by changes in employment. In the third case, the layoff is done depending on the demand of the products. This strategy permits, it is also called chase demand strategy. This strategy permits hiring and layoff of the workers depending on demand of the product. Use of overtime and subcontracting as required in each period. However, the inventory buildup is not used. Means it doesn't use inventory, it doesn't use warehouses. It hires the workers, it lay off the workers depending on the demand for the products. Okay, this is the third strategy which was used by the aggregate planners to meet the demand. Organization may opt for a strategy. The fourth strategy is combination of above three. Okay, organization may opt for a strategy that involves some combinations of the pure strategies. This allows managers the greater flexibility in dealing with uneven demand and perhaps in experimenting with a wide variety of approaches. But however, the absence of a clear focus. In the fourth one, in the combination of above three strategies, there is an absence of clear focus, and this led to erratic approach and confusion on the part of the employees. Okay, these are the four strategies which were followed by aggregate planners to meet the demand, to meet the seasonal variations in the demand. That's all for today. We will continue in the next class. Okay, thank you.